Joining me again today on the Disruptive Voices of the Pacific is a woman I had here about a year ago, and also my good friend who's living in the Philippines. Her name is Miri. When are you coming back to Fiji, Miri?
I hope I could be home this year in December, hopefully, but I start another school, so maybe next year
Okay, next.
in April or May.
No, please come in December because I'll be there then. But look, not everyone may have watched our episode. That was episode 84. But yeah, what are you doing in the Philippines? Why are you there?
Uh, so I work as a full-time missionary in Baguio City. That's with YWAM, an organization called YWAM, Youth with a Mission. Um, I live about 5 hours from Manila, up in the mountains, the city of pines, which is Baguio. And currently, I staff DTSs, which is a 6 month discipleship program course with U of N. And aside from staffing DTS, we also have base ministries with children, family ministry, a lot of evangelism, and um, we run Bible schools too.
Yeah, wow.
So yeah, that's pretty much a summary of what I do.
Yeah, brilliant. So you're working with a lot of young people most
Yes.
days. You're
Yes.
31 and single yourself. So in the prime of your life, living your best life. This is being single. You just
A
get
lot of
to
things.
go,
Hmm.
which is fun. But anyway, everything has challenges. But I interviewed you a year ago and on an episode called The Mistakes You Made While Dating. And had so much great feedback from that. Firstly, because you're just so honest and real. And again, so many people can identify because who hasn't made mistakes? And when you were growing up, there was no book, sex, dating, or relationships out there.
True.
I assume your parents or church hadn't equipped or helped you in this area. What did you hear growing up?
With regards to dating or sex, not much. Relationship was just, I think in the family it was, we don't talk about it, only that if you can afford to, then you can date. Sex is a definite no. Not that they said it, but it was something that you knew it was not allowed. So there was nothing we discussed. I believe at one point when I was maybe in my early teens, I had a conversation, my aunt had a conversation with us girls, only the girls, about us being the prized jewels of our homes, and men are only after one thing. So um you need to protect yourself, but nothing about how to maneuver if ever in a relationship. No one gave us in me any of that. Like, I feel that the book really helped me realize those things. Had I known earlier, had we talk about it in the family and have a space where we could question and ask things that weren't clear, would have saved me a lot of heartache and a lot of bad decisions. In church, there was, I believe, only the older youth, not, I was like, let's say, maybe 14, 15. It was not really something that was for us. But if you were in your late teens to your young adults, they would have these like sessions with some of the older couples that would talk about relationship and what it meant and what godly relationships supposed to look like and what sex is for, but not too much into it where if I think the information that was given, had they explained it more with no shame attached to it. Because I mean, sex is also biblical. Like, it's there. Like, it's there. I don't know why it's become such a taboo thing where we don't talk about it, because our culture is reserved. Like, we're conservative in that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, what my family and church lacked to teach me, the world taught me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I keep saying whenever I'm speaking. That's when we are silent on the truth, the world is loud on the lie.
Mm,
Um, so thank you for allowing your podcast has gone into this book. So thank you for adding your voice to this resource, because I'm aware not every young person likes to read and they just like to go and listen to the podcasts.
yeah.
So thank you for that. And
Thank you.
the book made it to the Philippines, so you've been able to
Yep.
read it already.
I've passed it around too.
Okay, fantastic. So now that you've read the whole book and seen everyone else's contributions, was there
Mm-hmm.
a particular chapter that really struck out to you?
The whole book in its entirety,
Mm.
so good. Like I read it in one sitting, and then I passed it to the girls on base, and then they were like, "Oh, we need books like this for the girls in our ministry, our young girls, because a lot of what we read when we sit one on one with the girls, they could identify with those things. So it would have been such a good resource for them too. Um, yeah.
Yeah, good. Well, it's out there now, which is
Mm-hmm.
important, and we're having these conversations, which is just vital. As someone who does work day in, day out with young people, part of your mission work, what are some of the big needs when it comes to these conversations? What are you seeing that young people are struggling with in the church around sex and dating?
The Philippines is pretty much like back home. Culture dictates how things are done. And because I'm up north, they have a different culture altogether. So it's finding that soft spot where you can actually speak into it, because the same, it's shame culture, a lot of things taboo as well. And but one, friendship evangelism is so good, where you form friendships, and then through those friendships you're able to have open dialogue with these young girls. Especially our ministries, we have like 12-year-olds who are pregnant, and have in our ministry that have like left, but they're now living with their parents, and their parents had them young too, so the cycle is repeated. Had some, for them it was when we did teaching on, obviously it's very like a big topic, like the destructiveness of sin, but going a bit into deep heart to heart, it's what we found, or what I realized, is that they don't really have a safe place to talk to, or let people, to have people hear them out, because everyone is always talking over. There's no one that's actually listening. So that's what I find, is that if there were safe spaces for them to openly share, where you have friendship, it also creates a space for them to receive when you are sharing something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, that's just so important, because especially I find in Christian world,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of preaching and a lot of talking at our young people
Mm-hmm.
for
Yeah.
hours.
Truly.
It's not always relevant or exciting, but who's actually sitting down with our young people and asking them
Mm.
questions and finding out what they're struggling with?
Yeah. That's true. We just had our last outreach location, which, thank the Lord, I got the privilege to lead that outreach. We were in a community. It reminds me of like Fiji, very small. We would call it like a village. They call it a barangay, and majority of the youth that were there, King's kids. We worked with King's kids, and all of them have the same story, like this, the cycle of abuse and sex and drugs and relationships, and all of them they found safety in this ministry because they were heard. They've had, majority of the villages or in the community are all Christians, either Catholics, Roman Catholic, Pentecostal, or other denominations, some cults, but they just felt at home because the staff of the ministry actually sat and listened to them share their stories. And some of their stories are so traumatic, but that's what they desire and what they longed for, is for someone to hear them and not preach over them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So important.
Mm-hmm.
Can we just backtrack to your relationship, your last relationship that we talked about? Because again, I think it's so important. And before we started recording, you were just saying how you had no idea how to be in a relationship and what was healthy and what was not.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just finding that over and over with young women, because they're charmed by this guy's good looks and his big muscles, and his sweet talk. But then, they find themselves in a relationship and things begin to turn toxic.
Mm.
Would you say, even though you talked a lot about the mistakes you made in that relationship, was there an element that was quite toxic?
For me, it would have to be just the conversations we'd have. There was nothing in our conversations that were, well, I wouldn't say productive, but I always left the conversation feeling like I was never good enough. Like there was a constant comparison with, oh, my friend this, like she's like this, and I'm like, where do I? It felt like I was not equally valued. That I was just there to be seen and not heard. Um, if I had something to say, or you're smarter than me because you know more than me, so, that sort of thing. And um, I'm not sure if he was fully aware of what he was doing, but the constant comparison, his constant comparison to other people was then projected on me. Like I like always, I don't feel like I'm good enough, da 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 da, so on and so forth. And then in some ways, again, I'm not really sure if he was aware of what he was saying or doing, but then those things that he would say would he would project onto me with how he would maybe lift this other person up, and I'm there with his friends, and so I'm always like, oh wait, am I pretty enough? Is my hair fine? Like, and I've always felt like I needed to meet the expectation by how I presented myself.
Who
Yeah.
was he comparing you to? His friends, girlfriends,
He's
ex-girlfriends?
friends and acquaintances
Mm,
that were, I'm not sure if you're aware, even in the Fijian, even in the church circle, there are cliques within our churches.
of course.
The one who are either musically talented, if they could sing, they're usually seen in every church function. They're like leading worship. They're the it guys, and then you have the ones who have money. And so, in the same, I find it toxic too, because within the church circle, there was an unspoken rule that was happening. And I even now, I don't think they were aware of it either. So, because very heavily a part of the same circle of friends, that those things would pop up, like conversations they would have, and I'm sitting there and I'm just confused at some point where I'm like, okay, never validated enough or never appreciated, but always compared.
Yeah,
And I never spoke up about it either. So it made it worse because I didn't know if I voiced my opinion, if it would be heard.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a flag as well.
Major flag.
Yeah. Which is stuff that which I'm hoping that through this book and resource and these conversations that we can help both women and men, because men can
Hmm.
be in toxic relationships.
Oh,
And
yeah.
did you fight a lot? Was there a lot of conflict, or were you just voiceless and went along with everything?
I was voiceless.
Yeah.
The one time I did fight, I was already at my breaking point, and then I was made to look like I was crazy in that moment. I couldn't contain it anymore. So there was never really that's why I thought the relationship was great because, we never argued about anything. And I would like pride myself in like, no, we never fight. Like I'm good couples, like they don't fight, they don't argue, we don't get jealous, or so I thought. Um, but that was never an issue because subconsciously I was made to think that I was the problem. Like it's just my thoughts. It's just your thoughts. You're you're thinking, you're overthinking. You're overthinking. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. That's an interesting lie, isn't it, that we believe just because we're
Mm,
fighting is oh, we're doing okay. But if you're voiceless, that's not a healthy relationship. A healthy
yeah.
relationship is when you can both be free to speak, which will mean that you will fight and disagree,
Mm-hmm.
but you'll work through those issues.
Yeah.
And again, there's some good material in the book to help
Mm-hmm.
navigate communication. I think we have a chapter on what is a healthy relationship, and navigating some of these issues.
Mm-hmm.
So, going into your next relationship, whenever that may be, who knows? What are some things you've learned from the past?
That I think one when it comes to communication or arguments, like there is no perfect relationship yet. But I shouldn't have to be anxious about bringing something up if it's something I don't feel comfortable with, and not. But my first indicators are if I'm not able to freely express my opinion and my thoughts without feeling like, oh, you're just going to abandon me if I say these things. You're just going to be so ticked off that I'm saying something that contradicts what you're saying and up and leave. Like if I feel that way, then it's not a relationship I should even be entertaining because I should also have the liberty and the freedom to express myself if I don't like something or if I don't agree um, with a decision. But I mean, it's clear communication,
Mm.
the freedom to express one's opinion and thoughts. The other thing is boundaries, setting healthy boundaries and sticking to them.
Yeah.
That's some I can think of right now.
And that's a really important one, with boundaries. It's something that you don't determine halfway through your
Mm-hmm.
relationship, but
Mm-hmm.
something that you want to begin to have conversations with right at the beginning. Uh,
Yes.
Emotional, physical, spiritual boundaries, they're all there to protect us and protect the relationship as well.
Mm.
So, yep, that's it's great that you can look back on that period of time and take some positive things out of that. So, being 31 and single and in a foreign country, how does that, how do you navigate that at this point of life? You're a long way from home, from your friends.
Mm. I think I'm navigating it fine. One, because majority of my co-staff on base are all single, so it's fun because we do things together. Now we can crack jokes about being single together. We're gonna be together forever. Um, being involved in ministry, finding hobbies. We do things a lot together. We have like two single guys on base and two, six of us single girls. So collectively, we just hang out. Um, and because I found like a community of friends that are also single, loving the Lord, and we're serving together, it has the idea when I don't ponder on the thought of wanting to be in a relationship, when I just enjoy the company of my friends and just take it in slowly, it doesn't affect me as much. But I find that when I'm thinking about it and comparing myself to maybe my classmates from high school or friends from back home who are younger than me that have gotten married, um, when I find myself looking through Instagram, mindlessly scrolling and just like, oh my gosh, they're married, or they're engaged, or they have a baby, like those things sort of trigger me to think about like, why am I single? Like, I should be already in a relationship. But when I learned to just, I appreciate, like, oh, thank you, Lord, that they're married, there's kids. And like, I know my time will come, but having, surrounding myself with people that like affirm my singleness as not being low. It's not, you're not lonely. You're enjoying being by yourself and enjoying all the things about yourself that you didn't recognize before. Those things make it a bit more, I think, worthwhile for me. It's been a joy for me. Um,
Do you ever get lonely?
yeah, of course I get lonely. I think that's part of being human. Like occasionally, I remember just messaging you, like you had asked me that question, like, yeah, I feel lonely because I'm away from home, my loved ones are not around me, and part of that makes me miss home. Where then I see that okay, I'm sort of like detached from physically from my family and friends, and that's when the lonely creeps in. Um, yeah, and sometimes you just pity yourself, like, oh my gosh, nobody's messaging me. It's hard out here. It
There we
is.
go. That's a message to all her friends out there, Miss Mary.
It's hard. Like
It is hard.
being in missions is not easy. Oh God, I'm not gonna cry. It
Yeah.
is hard, yeah. But I have learned, no, I don't want to sound religious, but I have learned to strengthen myself in the Lord. Even when there are no people around or people checking up on me and say, hey, how you doing? And not just the random, hi, hope you're well, and that's about it. But even in those instances, like I think I've had a few moments where I broke down before the Lord and just like wept. And then I was reminding myself, to strengthen myself in the Lord. And that assurance that God is my strength from when I made the decision to just abide, from that point till now, I find that I've grown in my singleness. Like there's a strength that I have not, I don't want to say acquired, but there's a strength that I have now that I've built in myself, not on my own accord, but I believe it's God's work in me. That now when I think about being single, I don't automatically just think, oh my gosh, I'm alone in this world. Yeah. Yeah. I hope that makes sense to someone, but
Mhm.
yeah.
Do
And
you,
sorry.
no, go ahead. You finished.
Yeah, and I've picked up hobbies. I've picked up hobbies. I've done things that I never would have done. I usually think like, oh, I need to be with a guy to do these things, like to go
Mhm.
on dates. But now I just take myself out on a date
Right.
every so often. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Do you ever fear that, I mean, you're 31, do you ever fear that you won't get married?
Yes, I do. Yeah, so I think the the thought of am I fit for marriage is what pops in because all my friends that we would always talk about like they were not going to get married are the ones who are getting married, and the ones who are actually thinking about marriage are not married yet. It's like, oh God, am I ever going to get married? But it does scare me sometimes. But the goal is not marriage. Yeah, it's not marriage. The goal is not marriage. It's a blessing to be married, but that is not the ultimate goal. I have learned to rejoice in others. Um, in the news of marriage, of engagement. My sister just recently got engaged. My brother's getting married, and for a minute, I'm just like, oh, no, they're both getting married first. But then I rejoice in it. Like, oh yay, another edit. I have a new brother and a new sister. And so
Mm.
that's great. And other than that, it does scare me. But if I'm more self-aware, if I'm thinking along the lines of, I will never get married, then I know I need to change how I think about marriage or about where I am right now. Like, I need to be content. I have to be content with my singleness journey. Yeah. That's so funny. That's a good question.
Yes. Sorry, I didn't tell you I was asking that one.
No, it's fine.
But it's a challenge, isn't it, when you've got this desire and it's not coming about,
Mm-hmm.
and because you've learnt from the past, you just don't want to be with any guy. I mean, I've always said I'd much rather be single than with the wrong guy.
Mm.
Just so much, yeah, so, but it can be tough and lonely, but so can marriage. So there we go.
Mm.
All right. Well, as we finish up, because this book is going to be rolling out across Fiji in the coming
Yay.
months after I've ridden my bike and raised all the money. What would you say to young people reading this book? What would you encourage them when they read it and get a hold of the material?
I think is no, be open. Like don't um read it with an open mind, an open heart, and try I would say like try and identify when you're reading where like there's some key points there for you that you can take from. And there's a lot in this book that you can take from. If not everything in there is like important. Don't just read it and be like, oh, this has nothing to do with me. No, you'll be surprised. There's some things in there that you can resonate with. And I would definitely recommend that. No, not just like or like maybe preteens. I think it's a good resource for anyone to read. You're not too young to read it because the harsh truth is that so like a lot of young people nowadays are experiencing these things at an early age. And so I think it should be available. Like everyone should have a copy of this, especially in church. It needs to be talked about in church. And if you're a youth leader or a pastor watching this, please get your young people to read these stories because more than likely you have youth in your church, young kids in your ministries that are living lives in like they can relate so well to this story. So yeah, read it, please.
There you
And
go. You've heard it from Mary. Read it. Read it, talk about it, have conversations.
yes, talk
Yeah,
about it.
get help with your issues
Mm-hmm.
before we go into relationships is good. So again, Mary, thank you for lending your voice to this conversation.
Thanks, Tish.
And also working alongside young people across the nations. Our young people need help and guidance, and you're a great example. So thank you.
Praise the Lord. Thanks, Tish.